Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to the second episode of Conversation with Vibration. I am your host, Mike Boblet. I started this podcast to spotlight small business owners. My inspiration was seeing how many locally owned businesses there are here when I moved to Asheville a couple of weeks ago. I plan to mainly focus on businesses in this area, but I am open to businesses in other places since my first episode had some listeners in Michigan, and I know business owners all over the country. Sometimes I might just go off and talk about something by myself, or even bring my wife on. Well, let's get into this. This guest on this podcast grew up in the area here in Western North Carolina, is an FAA Part 107 drone pilot, and teaches the FAA Part 107 classes. This business is locally owned and always up for the job. Please welcome the Chief Pilot of Blue Ridge Mountain Drones, Wayne Bailey. So it's nice to have you here today.
Good to be here.
How long have you been in the drone business with Blue Ridge Mountain Drones?
Since 2016. And what started it all was Santa Claus brought me one for Christmas.
Okay.
And so turned from a hobby into a business, actually.
Nice. So you started out just doing videos in your backyard and stuff like that. And so how did it grow from being a hobby into a business?
Well, as a hobbyist, just getting out, like you said, getting out in the backyard, flying, getting some hours, built up. And I've been involved in fire and rescue since 1975.
Okay.
So
wow.
I've been a volunteer working, and so that was thought, this could be used to do search and rescue, it could be used to do commercial structural fires, to be able to get up, 15, 20 stories, look around, see what's going on, be able to help fire service get a size up what's going on, wildland firefighting, brush fires, be able to get it up. This bird here has a infrared built into it, so as it goes up, you can actually see through the smoke and see the heat and be able to tell exactly where the fire is, which way it's heading, left or right, and help folks be able to get in front of it to be able to help stop it instead of just trying to guess which way it's going. And also measure intensity. It'll actually give you the degrees of the fire within 15 degrees minus or plus.
Wow.
It'll also let you know, so it also gives you that intensity. So as a hobbyist, I said, if I'm going to do this right, I need to go get my license to the FAA. So I studied for a Part 107 exam, and it's a 60-question test I took here at the airport, and became a commercial UAS, unmanned aircraft system pilot, recognized by the FAA to be able to fly. And so from that, venturing out from doing fire and rescue, started doing some real estate, but here recently, teaching the Part 107 class to students to get them ready to go take the exam at the airport has been fun, and predominantly my audience is fire and rescue personnel within Western North Carolina, 30 county area is my project. So already I've got 3 scheduled for 2020 to go and teach. So it's gone from not just flying, but to actually teaching how to fly, and also teaching how to be able to get their license to fly as a commercial pilot.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I never even thought of it for the fire and rescue side of things, but that's genius, really.
It's wide open. If you can think of a field, it can be used. Think of surveyors using it to survey interstates or new roads. Think of it as construction companies using it to be able to fly and map their construction site to check inventory, what is on site. And an engineer or project manager can look and go, why is that lift still on the construction site? It should have been gone a week ago. We're still being charged for that. So you can actually do inventory control based on what you're seeing on the site, and be able to, someone 500 miles away, 1,000 miles away across the continent can actually check in to see the progress of the building that's going on.
All right.
So think of it of pipeline inspections. Think of doing inspections for power lines, transmission towers, distribution after a storm. Working with Stonehouse drones, they are doing inspections with the local co-ops in North Carolina and South Carolina. and they'll go in and do the inspection of the poles to see if the poles have been bent, if there's anything broke, to keep from happening what you saw out in California with power lines dropping down and starting wildfires. So doing inspection. So, it's just unlimited on what just this little bird here can be able to do for you. And working smart instead of hard.
Yeah.
If you need to do an inspection on a roof, instead of climbing up on a ladder and being on a slippery roof, you can send a drone up to be able to do your inspection and see what's happening.
Yeah, I've heard of home inspectors doing that. Yeah, some of them.
So it's a neat tool, and it is a tool. But when we do search and rescue, you still need to have boots on the ground.
Right.
It's not something that you just send in and you find the person. This helps give you maybe the big picture looking, what is happening as far as the terrain goes. And sometimes we looked up and we actually find the person using the infrared or be able to see someone that's missing. But most of the time it's found by the boots on the ground to actually get the work done.
Right. So what kind of range does this have from where you are flying it?
The manufacturer, DJI, says it's up to 3 miles.
Wow.
That it can be flied remotely. FAA requires us to have it within a visual line of sight.
Okay.
So visual line of sight for me would be around 1,500, 1,800 feet out. But just know if it's rated at 3 miles, at 1,500 feet you get a real good signal. It's not like you're just barely getting a signal coming back and forth to the bird. So, if you're only doing a quarter or an eighth of what it's rated to, then you're getting a strong signal. If you happen to have birds fly by between you and that, or you get a power line between you and the bird, any interference, knowing that 3 mile strong signal, but we would never do 3 miles.
Okay.
Based on the current regulations set by FAA to fly.
Okay. And how do you see what that sees? Is it through your phone linked up with it?
It has a controller, up and down, left and right.
Okay.
And with that, I have an iPad that attaches to that. So I look at my iPad as a screen to be able to see what the bird is actually seeing.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. They've definitely come a long ways since they first came out, which I would imagine is roughly 10 years ago.
You know what? Unmanned flight's been gone for 100 years.
Okay.
Based on drones in the military. Up
That's
to
true.
date. So the technology is getting better every day. Like this bird here is that it's a DJI Mavic 2 Dual. Dual meaning it's got an infrared on one side, and on the other side it has RBG, red, blue, green, meaning like a photo you would take with your phone.
Okay.
So it has a dual lens on the front. And so this one here would cost somewhere around $3,000, $3,100 to be able to purchase. So they're not cheap.
Right.
But when you're using it as a tool to be able to go find someone and you find them, and you find them alive.
It's priceless.
Instead of spending them out in the woods in temperatures like we're having here below freezing, it's priceless to be able to have.
Right. And some of the other ways you were talking about using it, I mean, the amount of stuff that you can check on or, get an eye on compared to hiring somebody to go out and visually do the inventory or check on stuff. Over time, this is definitely more affordable
versus using a helicopter. What would it cost a helicopter be an hour to be able to operate? $300, $500 an hour. So if you're going to go out and do an inspection, then you may end up with $1,000 just to be able to go up and take an aerial photo. Where this one can within 10 minutes have what you need and be back on the ground. So yes, it cuts the expense down of doing those inspections on those power poles, distribution lines.
Right.
And also the safety thing. You can imagine a pilot flying at 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, with power lines and transmission towers, 50 feet, 25 feet below him. The issues that you have with collisions and downdrafts. So it's a much safer way to be able to do those inspections instead of using them hands.
Right. So how much does the wind affect the flight on these?
On this one, the forward speed could go up to around 43 knots.
Okay.
So if you're in 45 knot winds, you're going backwards, right?
Right.
So I think DJI recommends that you keep it down below 20 knots, and therefore is that you don't get into issues. I would never fly it in a 40-mile-an-hour wind because it would just push it backwards.
Right.
And with wind currents moving it back and forth, once you went in, then you tried to make the turn. Once you tried to make that turn, then you get this side here, the wind, and it would probably flip it. So I'd say less than 20 knots.
Okay, that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
So what all have you done before you started doing the drone business?
Starting back in 1977, I started working in a bank as a teller.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if I worked up or down to be a collector. And then back in those days is when your passbook savings made 5.25% interest, and you could get 12 and 14% return on a certificate deposit. So those were the good days on making interest on your money.
Right.
So I spent 18 years in banking, and then in 1995 got out, just no job security. It was downsizing, upsizing, uprising.
Right.
And so in 1995 I left and went to work for the state of North Carolina. I went to go work for the North Carolina Department of Insurance Office State Fire Marshal. So at the Office State Fire Marshal, we work with firefighters across the state and certify them to be a firefighter. So we write the lesson plans, we write the test questions, we write the skills test.
Okay.
And then we have qualified instructors that go out and teach these classes. And then in the end, they get a certification. So a typical fire department will say, locally here at Asheville, will send their recruits through a recruit class. And then they will actually go through the lesson plans that we provide, have their students passed off on the skills and give a written test. And at the end of recruit class, they get their firefighter 1 and 2. So that's just an example of the certifications that's offered across the state. Think about that in the rescue side, doing wilderness rescue, doing extrication for someone trapped in a vehicle, trench rescue, someone that's down into a trench. How do you go and get someone out without getting yourself hurt or killed with a collapse? So those are all certification classes in the state for fire and rescue to take. So for the last 24 years, that's been part of my life, working here in the state, and also part of international accreditation. Our programs were accredited by a group called IFSAC, the International Fire Service Accreditation Congress. And IFSAC is peer-driven, and they would send us all over the world to do site visits to other members to make sure they're following policy and they have in place their credentials to be able to certify. So, keeping it simple, a firefighter from North Carolina could take their certification to South Carolina, to Hawaii, to South Africa, to Oman, and they would recognize that firefighter's credentials there.
Oh, wow.
And so instead of having to go back through that recruit class, they could recognize, hey, you came from an accredited entity, so we recognize that you've been tested to a standard in place. So that was fun to be able to travel around the world to be able to do these site visits. South Africa was one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I guess, I have a couple of friends that are wildland firefighters. So I guess that's how they're able to go anywhere really and transfer to work somewhere else.
They get credentialed, red carded, some of them call it, and they get credentialed in firefighting. So are they federal firefighters?
I'm not sure.
Whether it's state or federal, they get credentialed, and so they can go to other states to fight fire, and they recognize their training.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't want to bring someone in that just maybe got some local training. They want to make sure they went through the training that everybody else did, so they know that what their capabilities are and what they should have been taught in class, and in the end tested on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So what's your favorite part about the community here in Asheville?
Asheville. Asheville is near and dear to me. I grew up in a little town, Brevard, about 45 minutes away.
Okay.
So that was where I went to school, high school, and grew up. And then in 2000, I moved to Asheville, and I've seen a lot of growth in the last 20 years here in Asheville. Not just the road structures, but the infrastructure. Downtown is vibrant. The recreational areas. I mountain bike. I try to get out once or twice a week out in Big Creek, over at DuPont State Forest. And so with mountain biking is one. I snow ski. So I'm getting out in the area and skiing. In December, heading out to Steamboat. So we've got a lot of resorts within 2 hours of Asheville to be able to go skiing. Okay. So I think Asheville is a great place to live. I mean, we have about 1 million visitors a month coming into Asheville.
Wow.
And so other people validate that, where we live, it's a destination area.
Right.
And the cost of living sort of represents that too, based on expenses. But Asheville has a lot to offer someone to be able to come in, and especially if you're home based in your business. There's a lot of service industry here, hotels, bars, but we don't have a lot of industry here to be able to go get a job paying $40 or $50 an hour.
Right.
So it's a great place to be able to move in, work out of your home, like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Be able to do this, save the expenses, and if you grow later down the road, then you can find you a place to get out and expand. But Asheville's a great climate. We don't have a lot of snow here in Asheville. 12 to 18 inches a year, maybe a cumulative.
Okay, yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah, I'm going out to Steamboat in December, and their cumulative is 300 inches a year.
Wow.
So
where's that at?
In Steamboat Springs, Colorado.
Okay, Colorado.
So when you look at both, that's not a lot of snow, and
right.
They do a great job on cleanup. Yeah, maybe plows will get out, but we do have plows in order to be able to get the roads clean. But it's a great place to live.
Yeah, I'm originally from Arizona, so the snow kind of excites me, even if it's just a little bit.
Our humidity in the summer gets up to about 100%. Your humidity in Arizona is 3%.
Almost nothing, yeah.
4%.
Okay, so that'll take some adjusting.
Right.
I was in Washington State for the last year, so that a little more humid there, but still, I'm sure nothing like here.
Beautiful area.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of rain in Washington State.
Yeah, not as much as I expected, though. I always heard people say it rains almost constantly. I lived on the east side of the state in Spokane, and that's the little bit more drier side. And then I lived Portland, Vancouver area, and it rained, but not as much as I was expecting. It wasn't like every day, like what everybody says.
Right. Well, here in Asheville, I think year to date we've got 46 inches of rain.
Okay.
Last year it was over 100 inches. So we have half the amount of rain that we had last year, which is good for mountain biking because, you like to have some dry trails.
Right.
To be able to get out, or the hikers getting out. So it's been a good year.
So the mountain biking, there's trails just about any direction, from what I've heard.
Right, from where we're at here, you can travel 3 miles, 4 miles. It'd be in the Bent Creek area. It's an experimental park.
Okay.
And they've opened it up. So a lot of single tracks. 25 miles, 30 miles of single tracks in there that you can ride. And it's a great place for hikers and bikers to be able to go in. See a lot of mountain bikers there. DuPont State Forest, about 45 minutes away. Another great place to be able to go. Beautiful waterfalls, high falls, triple falls. So if you're in the area, DuPont's a great place to be able to get out and hike with your camera or a mountain bike.
Yeah. I used to ride bikes a lot when I was younger, but I'd like to get more into that. I had a mountain bike for a little while when I was in Washington. I didn't really get a chance to get out too much, but I'd definitely like to get another one.
Yeah. Very convenient living here.
Yeah. And I also had a kayak for a while when I was in Arizona. I really enjoyed that. It seems like there's a lot of opportunity for that here too, with a couple lakes.
The French Broad River, which is just right down the road.
Right.
Is one of the oldest rivers in the world.
Oh,
If you think about the French Broad River and where we're at here in Asheville, the French Broad flows north out of Asheville into Madison County. The Continental Divide is over at Black Mountain, which is about 20 miles away.
Okay.
So some million years ago, with earthquakes and shifts, I'm sure at one time it flowed into the Atlantic, which is only a couple hundred miles away.
Right.
But now it makes its way back into, I think, the Columbus, and then back into the Mississippi, and then back down into the Gulf.
Okay.
So it flows north instead of toward the eastern coast into the Atlantic.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
So you take the French Broad River is close by. So think of the area, the Blue Ridge Mountains. When you look at the mountains, you see the mountains. They're smooth. They're not jagged like you see in Europe.
Right.
And the difference is the millions of years that these mountains have been here, that the weather and the erosion has smoothed them over, not like you would see jagged rocks, per se, over in Switzerland or in Italy. So being on the French Broad River, being one of the oldest rivers in the world, it's got a lot of scenes. You've traveled through the Biltmore State property, so you can see the house from the river.
Okay.
And it's a clean river. You hardly see any debris up on the banks, tires or cars.
I've noticed that about this whole area. It seems really clean. Not a lot of people that litter or anything like that. Some other areas I've been, there's a lot of stuff on the sides of the roads and stuff, but it seems really clean here. I like that.
And I'm thinking that not just the state is doing the work or the city is picking up, but I think people here in Asheville have a tendency to appreciate the environment.
Yeah.
Of what we do here. So it's rare to see somebody just throwing something out of the window, out on the streets or on the pavement.
Yeah, that's good, because that really bothers me.
It does.
Yeah.
Me too. So interviewing you, okay?
Okay.
What's your plans here in Asheville? I mean, what do you so far have you seen here in Asheville? Enjoy the microbreweries here in Nevada?
Not yet. I just had a wisdom tooth pulled last week, so I haven't been able to drink any beer yet. But my last interview was with Green Man.
Okay.
And they gave me a Joker IPA that's still in my refrigerator. I'm waiting to try it.
Great beer. They do a great job up there at Green Man.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good. But yeah, I'm excited to get out and see the breweries here. I know there's a ton of them. And also the bigger ones here in Nevada.
New Belgium.
Yeah, New Belgium.
Yeah, the beer is good, but the food is better. I mean,
Okay.
if you're a foodie, in Asheville, they have the Asheville Independent Restaurants. They call it AIR. And there must be at least 75, 80 independent restaurants in and around Asheville.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So for, having great food, and there's chains here as well. But, you could eat, once or twice a week at a local restaurant and never eat the same one, in a year's time.
Right.
So I encourage you to be able to get out and find some good restaurants. One of my favorites is down in the Biltmore area, where Vanderbilt, at the entrance of the Biltmore House.
Okay, yeah.
Biltmore Village is Corner Kitchen. Is one of my favorites.
Corner Kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in an old house that's been there for who knows how long, 60, 70, 80 years. And so you got some niche shops, but that's one of my favorite restaurants. Chestnuts, downtown, across from the double-decker bus.
Okay.
Great food. So hopefully you'll find some great places to be able to eat and be able to get out. Sometimes I find myself eating at the same restaurants, but just finding a new restaurant, getting on social media, find out what's opening up, and just go out and trying good food. And it's not all expensive either.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we haven't really got a chance to get out too much yet, but we plan on checking out some of the local restaurants, definitely.
Cool.
But yeah, as far as what I'm doing here is I moved here with my wife a couple weeks ago, and we have a baby on the way.
All right. You excited?
Definitely. But we moved here without ever visiting the area, never seeing it. Just kind of did some research. We were getting ready to move. and I think we did a search for top places to raise a family, and this was one of them. And then I worded it differently. I did a couple more searches, and this kept popping up. So the more we looked at it, and I actually talked to some people in the Portland area, and a lot of them said that they had visited here or that they actually lived here before. I was surprised how many people I ran into that were familiar with it, and they all had nothing but good things to say about the area. So that's a big reason why we decided to come here.
It's a great place, and George Vanderbilt has helped a lot with that, and his heirs with the Biltmore House and the amount of people that come in, every day to be able to visit. And during the Christmas season, they're all decorated up for Christmas, so there'll be thousands of people coming in each day to be able to go through and visit the house and the grounds and over to the winery. And they say that their winery is the most visited winery in the United States.
Really?
With people coming in. So, the house has attracted thousands, if not millions of people, over the last 20, 30 years for people to be able to come in and visit. So it's made Asheville an icon, a destination area for people coming in. So it's not surprising you go to Portland or you go to Seattle or Los Angeles. Say, you ever heard of Asheville? I go, oh yeah, I've heard of Asheville. They don't know why, but they've heard of it,
Yeah.
So it's very well known, but I think the Vanderbilt family and the Cecil family has had a lot to do with that over the years, keeping Biltmore, that area, that destination for people to be able to come visit. We can't forget about Harrah's over in Cherokee. We have a lot of people come in to come in and gamble for the weekend or the week.
Okay.
So they also bring in a lot of people to Western North Carolina.
Yeah, that's good.
Fishing is great here. We haven't talked about fishing.
Is it?
Yeah. Fly fishing.
I haven't done much fishing, but I would like to start.
Right. We got some great rivers, the Davison River or Pisgah National Forest over in Brevard.
Okay.
It's a great place. But there's a lot of rivers here that they stock, and a lot of them are native. So if you're into trout fishing, some great fishing here.
Yeah, I might have to pick that up. I need to get some new hobbies going. Maybe the mountain biking and the fishing would be good ones to pick.
Yeah. I think either one of them. There's of course there's golf courses around here, but that's too expensive for my taste to be spending $50 or $60 every time I go out. So the mountain bike, I can buy the bike once and use it for the next 10 years. So that's more affordable for me to be able to use.
Right. Yeah, I go golfing every once in a while, but not very often.
I like playing. I'm usually playing in the 70s because once it gets in the 80s and 90s, it gets just too hot for me. So
yeah,
it's good weather here.
Yeah, that was another big reason why I moved here was the weather. It seems year round it's pretty great. It doesn't get too cold, doesn't get too hot.
Right. If it does get cold, like last night, it was 29, 30 degrees. Had a nice little frost outside. That does help kill the bugs. So I don't have as many bugs. But for it to stay below freezing for more than 2 or 3 days at a time is really rare for that to happen. It usually warms up in the 40s, and which is nice. You look like you're a cold weather guy. Be able to get out in short sleeves in this winter time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not bad. Which is surprising being from Arizona, but I guess being in Washington, Spokane, it snowed quite a bit last winter.
Okay.
There was a time when I think we got 24 inches within a week or so. So it was a good amount of snow, but yeah, I don't mind the cold weather at all. And the heat, of course. I don't really mind the heat too much.
All right. So when you're ready to go mountain bike, get your bike, let me know.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll get you connected and take you on some trails, some single tracks over in Bent Creek. And I think that's something that you'll enjoy doing. It's a good stress reliever and it's a good workout. Getting out, getting your heart pumping and going up these little small tracks. And of course, we ride up to be able to go down.
Right.
So, but it's great workout, some good kinetic energy, with your arms to be able to get out and just help you keep fit. So I encourage you to get out and find your hobby.
Yeah.
Before the baby gets here anyway, right?
Right. Yeah, it's coming up pretty quick. Got 2 months left, maybe less.
Wow. Well, I'm excited for you.
Yeah, thanks. Do you have any kids?
No kids.
No kids?
No.
Okay.
No, not married. I've got a significant other, and we've been dating for 5 years, been together for 5 years, so I think I'll keep her.
Yeah. Awesome. So I guess back towards the business things a little bit. What all do you do for marketing for your drone business, or do you just kind of see what comes in?
Right. On the public safety side, it's totally free, no charge for working with fire and rescue. On the commercial side, being part of the networking groups here in Asheville, just getting out for lunches, after 5 meetings, and usually you get a chance to be able to do a 1-minute elevator speech, introduce yourself, and speak. And what I found is that you get there early and just start having conversations with people, and be the last one to leave.
Okay.
And that way, somebody's standing around, you can get a handshake in, find out what their needs are, and if I can help them. It's not one way for me to be able to get, but what can I do to help you? And I'm looking for a plumber, I'm looking for an electrician, I'm looking for someone to do this. And so, collecting business cards and putting them in my contacts, I do my best to be able to help folks out. So you look for a plumber, I'll just type in plumber. I might get 3 or 4 plumbers that's in my contacts, and share those with them. So the networking, again, is not about receiving, but giving. And I really feel like, what you give, you're going to get back.
I agree. I like that you mentioned that, because I do feel like when you go to those type of events, there are those people that are just trying to get for themselves, but really, I mean, what you need to do, like you said exactly, is give. And that's what I would want to do, is see where I could provide value. I mean, it may not be able to connect them with other businesses like you were just talking about, because I'm not from the area, but if there's any way that I can provide value at all,
right,
that's what I'm looking to do, really.
And it's not necessarily that you know me, and I've been around the area all my life, so a quick text to me who you know that's a plumber, and I can give you who I use as a plumber, and then you can forward that to that person, and now you've got a plumber in your contacts in case you need one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, there's ways to be able to figure that out. But I think just getting out and making yourself available, to be able to, meetup.com is a great way for anybody that's new to an area. Type in meetup.com, and I tell people, let's say that you're into underwater basket weaving, and you're trying to find other underwater basket weavers, and you go, how do I find them here in this area that I'm new to? So go to meetup.com and type in underwater basket weaving, and you'd be surprised that there's 2 chapters here, there's 2 meetups. And you say, hey, I want to go, and they're at the YMCA this Saturday at 9 a.m. and you click on I want to go, and you're signed up, and you show up at 9 a.m. at the YMCA pool, and there's other underwater basket weavers there. So think about doing that with networking, with kayaking, with mountain biking. There's millions and millions and millions of people around the world that are part of these groups. So I think it's a great way for people to connect. It's not a dating group.
Okay, yeah.
It's just strictly a meetup group. And it's my understanding how meetup started was after September 11th, 9/11, people were sort of just in a daze and was looking to be able to connect with other people. And so it's my understanding that's how this all got started. So if you are a new mom, then there's other new mom groups out there that you can enjoy. So you can sort of share what's going on with your child. They can share and find out what's going on. So that's part of that networking. So if you're a runner, find a running group and get out with them. So I find with my meetup groups that it would be hard for me just to go out and ride my mountain bike by myself. But if there's a group there and they know that I'm coming, I'm more likely to show up and be there than just going out on my own.
Okay, yeah.
So sometimes there's some accountability for the group for you to get out. So I encourage anybody, if they're even if they've been in the area for a while, the meetup.com, check out what's there and join a couple and be active.
Yeah, awesome. So when you go to these networking events, I've been to some where, people are really welcoming and they're all talking, and then I've been to some where people are kind of separated into their groups. Does it seem to be pretty don't know how to word it, I guess.
Cliques? Have cliques and groups?
Yeah, or does everybody seem to be mixing and talking with each other?
I think
if
if it's a networking group, people are there to be able to meet other people. So I think it's more open. You don't find people, together. But if it comes to a group, and let's say that it's you've got 100 underwater basket weavers that showed up, right? Of course, they're going to know people that they've met and done basket weaving in the past. So you're going to have those people who tend, especially shy, to gravitate toward people that they've met or know before.
Kind of naturally, yes.
Right. So I think it's for us is that if you're going to go into a meetup group, first thing you do is just put your hand out, start shaking hands. I'm Wayne. I'm new to the group. And a lot of times they know that you're new. They'll start to introduce you to other people.
Okay.
So I think it's important that you make that approach to be able to meet others. And a smile and a handshake, people will open up to you, and that's what they're there for. They're there to be able to meet up with others as well.
Right.
Yeah. So whatever you make out of it, right?
Yeah, that's true. Just like anything, really.
Right. You're looking for that connection with someone that maybe, what you're doing, maybe the same age, maybe someone that's got, kids, and you're looking for someone that's got kids that you can sort of relate with, whatever that might be. So, just a simple smile and a handshake will open up the doors for you, getting into these meetup groups and meeting new people.
Yeah. I look forward to getting out there and meeting more great people like yourself.
I don't know about that.
Well, thanks for taking the time to sit down with me today, and hopefully we can do some work in the future together. And if there's anybody I know that we run across that needs some drone work done, I'll definitely send them your way.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Nice meeting you, sir. Good
Nice
seeing
meeting you.
Take care.